the Penguin in a behind-the-scenes look at the making of Batman Returns.
Mr. Wayne, something wrong?
I am an animal! It's Penguin!
I am Catwoman. Batman.
We know who he is. Welcome to Gotham, a city that has been strangely quiet since the dark Avenger of the Night, Batman, ended the Joker's reign of terror. However, lately, there have been new sightings that have been nagging the metropolis. As I was saying, there have been sightings of a beautiful woman with a mask, a whip, and a stunning black outfit, and a mysterious penguin creature with revenge on its mind. Just when we need him most, Batman returns. In Batman Returns, the dark driving force is still Batman himself.
In 1939, Bob Kane created a legendary hero. Then in 1989, Batman burst onto the motion picture screen and became a worldwide phenomenon and one of the most popular movies of all time. And now, 1992, Batman Returns, an epic adventure that pits the Dark Knight of Gotham City against two of the most fiendish and evil villains in history. As the adventure continues, the dark driving force is still Batman himself, Michael Keaton.
And in a lot of ways, this was harder because I found myself kind of doing an impersonation of myself, which was, first of all, impossible, and second of all, really strange. And so I just dropped that and said, no, you gotta just open up like it's the first time and just trust that, you know, the character will be there, I guess.
Batman is an unusual character. He's fairly remote, conflicted, with a real split personality. It's with this understanding of the Cape Crusaders' complex psychological makeup which led Burton to cast Keaton in the lead role. At the time, it was a controversial decision.
It wasn't all that severe, except for the hundreds of thousands of people who were protesting in the streets, I guess. You know, and when they hung me in effigy, that was a little, for me, harsh. I thought this was going to be kind of a breeze because Tim and I had talked about it. We figured we had this pretty well wired, you know, what I did, what I didn't do, what I needed to do, what I absolutely didn't need to do, what was better for me not to do. And we thought, well, this will actually be easy. This will be one of those where you just show up, you know, turn around, look into camera, and have spray a little sweat on your face like you just beat up 5 guys and go home. And it turned out it wasn't like that at all. In fact, in a lot of ways, this was harder.
He's a very strange character because he's a character that likes to remain in the shadows, has a real split personality. He's fairly remote and conflicted. So in the first movie, I think we were really exploring that, and I feel like we arrived at it at the end, really. So I feel, and I think Michael feels the same way. And
You actually feel really good and comfortable.
more comfortable so that we can take this foundation and maybe explore it a little bit deeper.
So I was interested in doing that.
To destroy Batman, we must first turn him into what he hates the most. Namely us.
Doctors have spent years trying to analyze these characters, so I mean, you know, we'll do the best we can in 2 hours, but there's lots to explore.
As I was saying, I'm a woman and can't be taken for granted. Life's a bitch, now so am I. Who are you? Who's the man behind the bat? Maybe you can help me find the woman behind the cat. No, that's not you. by kitty litter.
It's not a sequel. It's not a sequel in the sense it doesn't sort of pick up necessarily where one left off kind of a thing.
And action!
The point is to make it feel fresh and make it feel exciting and new and still be Batman.
You missed.
Yeah, Alfred. Go to number 4. Hey, look at it. Go for the phone.
Does it look funny on the phone?
And I think that seems weirder.
That does. I've never done this. You ever see what it, when you're not out doing this?
And if you're just being normal, you know what I mean?
Just acting normal, throw a glove up, kind of be winded.
Yeah. And then, see, in one case, maybe it's good, like, that it's a little, that it's like you're
Weird.
being normal.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I think is kind of weird, right?
Alfred, bring me some antiseptic ointment, would you?
Coming.
In presenting a characterization as unusual as Batman, even the smallest scenes demanded the detailed attention of Keaton and Burton, and the lighter moments were a welcome break in the complexity and pressure of a massive 6-month shooting schedule.
Don't beat Bush.
The story of Batman Returns
It was really fun to watch the expression on Danny DeVito's and Michelle's face.
I've never worked on a film this big before.
In the movie, the Penguin tries a hostile takeover of Gotham City.
I was pumped.
The mysterious Catwoman
Actually more complicated than I could have even imagined.
tries to sink her claws into Batman.
And my claws were getting stuck and everything.
Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is attracted to a strangely familiar woman.
I think the guy probably goes big when he goes.
And so does the Penguin.
Likes her, lusts after her.
Let me ask you something. Why'd you come tonight?
You first.
See you.
That's lovely. And I really wish I could say the same, but I came from Max.
What do you mean, you and... Not you and Max.
Me and Max. No, this and Max. Now, don't give me a killing Max won't solve anything speech, because it will. Aren't you tired of this sanctimonious robber baron always coming out on top when he should be 6 feet under?
I'm sure you have a lot of problems with your boss, but I mean, who the hell do you think you are?
I don't know anymore, Bruce. A kiss under the mistletoe. You know, mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
A kiss can be even deadlier. If you mean it.
Oh my God. Does this mean we have to start fighting?
About every 15th day, that's usually where it rolls around with me, that I'm just kind of standing there waiting, and I kind of look at what everybody's wearing. I look at myself, and it gets really tremendously absurd. You know, when you kind of step outside yourself and you realize this is really nuts what we're doing. You just gotta kind of laugh and say, well, here we go.
For 5 decades, Batman has battled evil in Gotham. Now there are 2 fresh villains lurking in the shadows, waiting. One is seductively beautiful, lethally dangerous. You never know where she'll appear out of the shadows. And like Michelle Pfeiffer, who portrays this lady of mystery, she is a force to be reckoned with.
People say to me, now, is she a bad guy or is she a good guy? Good at heart, but was always running astray.
Meow.
No pun intended. I thought it would be a couple of scenes and probably, you know, not a fully developed character. But I didn't care. I would have done it anyway because it's a kind of idol from my childhood. Then, to my surprise, I read the script and I found her to be very interesting and very complicated, sort of psychologically. And actually, quite a challenge as an actress.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
She starts out as a fairly normal person.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
She suffers being in a man's world and all of the
Suppressed rage.
the torture that goes along with
Being a woman.
Catwoman comes in? What do you think it's on my mind?
Down, Oswald.
Parcheesi?
I wouldn't touch you to scratch you.
She's basically somebody who's driven to do something.
Discovering just how lethal she can be and just what she wants to destroy.
One of the things Catwoman wants to destroy is Shrek's department store, which is owned by an evil, scheming mega millionaire who also just happens to be the boss of Secretary Selena Kyle, Catwoman's dual identity. And Catwoman's tool for this destruction? The bullwhip.
Anthony, the longest. He was a great teacher.
Michelle Pfeiffer's whip trainer and choreographer. Most people, you know, have a tendency to raise their eyebrow when you say whip. The trick about it is traveling faster than the speed of sound. I'm breaking the sound barrier. So there is a certain hazard to it because it can cut skin, it can break bones.
Also, the whip is really lethal. I mean, I've drawn blood with it. Accidentally, no. Actually, Tim doesn't even know this. It was my first day of shooting, and I hadn't slept, and I was really nervous, and my whip trainer, we were both really nervous. And both of us weren't paying attention, and I nicked him here, and I was devastated. And he quickly went and covered it with me, because he knew if anybody saw it, it would freak out. A lot of lessons. A lot of lessons.
She is doing things with the whip that will make Indiana Jones green. That 90% of the people who do this for a profession can't do.
In this scene, Catwoman wants to whip off the heads of 4 mannequins, and Michelle's 3 months of training really paid off. She performed this difficult and potentially dangerous scene perfectly on the very first day.
Action, Michelle!
Michelle was doing the weirdest things in this movie in terms of things that she had to do. A couple hours to put this makeup, put this costume. Now come and use this whip, you know. Here, put this bird in your mouth.
Nice birdie.
No, I don't think I've worn any rubber suits in any other movies.
It's just all really fun.
She's luscious. She's beautiful. She should be mine.
One thing with the black rubber, it almost looks liquid on the body. I mean, she looks like she's wearing black glass. I mean, it's incredibly beautiful. And when you get someone who can really move, like a cat, which Michelle can, it's very fluid looking. It doesn't look like clothes.
I don't know whether to open fire or fall in love.
She's a very feline creature, and she starts identifying with the cats and then literally makes herself a homemade cat suit. We wanted it to be tight to the body and sexy, and that's an obvious area to go into. I mean, especially with someone like Michelle Pfeiffer, who's, you know, got legs for days. And, you know, you want to expose all those wonderful limbs and everything.
The first time I put the outfit on, I thought, I can't walk, I can't breathe, I can't hear, I can't act like this. And that's how I felt. It took me a long time to get used to all of the elements.
She's so talented. There was never any question in my mind that not only was she going to be really terrific in this, but she was going to figure out how to do this.
She's wasting her time with that bozo on the hill.
What do you want? Ah, the direct approach. I admire that in a man with a mask. You don't really think you'll win, do you? Things change.
Meow.
I saw her first. Gotta fly.
When I saw her, the immediate impression I got is that she's a great match with Michael Keaton. I mean, they're just, you know, there's 4 great eyes there, you know, between the two of them. And that's very important to these characters, is what comes through.
He sees himself in this woman. And there are points where, if you really want to examine it, they almost lose themselves in each other.
You got kind of a dark side, don't you?
No darker than yours, Bruce. It was a challenge. It was actually one of the most challenging roles I've done. The thought of busting Batman makes me feel all dirty.
Underneath Gotham streets lurks a twisted creature with a brilliant mind and an umbrella full of evil tricks. He also has an aquatic army of helpers that wreak havoc on unsuspecting Gotham. He's the Penguin, neither human nor foul, a character that's graphically brought to life by a man whose persona is larger than life, Danny DeVito.
The name is Oswald Cobblepot. I get around mostly by foot in my network of tunnels, but I have been known to ride in a duck. He is without a doubt one of the most evil characters that I've ever encountered in my life.
Right now, my troops are fanning out across town.
50 years ago, Bob Kane introduced perhaps the most unusual Batman villain of all, a dapper little fellow named Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin.
When I created the Penguin in the comic strip, I thought he was comical looking.
When I was a kid, I read the comic books.
He looked so unvillainous.
You have a kind of an image of this Penguin character already.
The Penguin looks like a cute little fella.
But just get that right out of your mind, because this is so totally unique and different, especially coming from this man.
In the comics, I thought that was one of the weaker characters, because that was actually one of the characters that had the least amount of a foundation psychologically. It was more just a funny-looking man, as far as I could tell. But we're making him the Penguin.
Unlike the comic book, Burton and DeVito have created a tragic, strangely deformed creature with a brilliant mind. He was abandoned by his parents, raised by penguins, and now lives in the sewer.
Hi.
Flanked by an army of loyal penguins, he embarks on a diabolical plan to destroy Gotham City and
Batman. I'm not a human being.
I've never planned anything like this before.
I am an animal.
This is from the bowels of I don't know where.
Cold-blooded.
I've never explored this in my life.
I don't think there's anybody any better making the horrible acceptable.
You're the coolest role model a young person could have.
And you're the hottest young person a role model could have. I just feel like a real kindred spirit with Danny. I mean, somebody who just has a certain take on things which I feel very close to. Touch of the bubbly. So what are we waiting for? Let's consummate our fiendish union.
What are you talking about?
Oh, come on. Can't you picture? It's dark in the mayor's mansion. I'm bushed. So here you come into the bedroom, twitching your little tail. My slippers in one hand, a dry martini in the other.
Oh, please. I wouldn't touch you to scratch you.
You lousy mink! I ought to have you spayed. You sent out all the signals. And I don't think I like you anymore. Goodbye, my unintended. Go to heaven.
Director Tim Burton is also an artist, and his drawing of the Penguin became the blueprint for the look of the character. And to achieve the original look, DeVito endured a 3-hour makeup routine.
It's this cold, clammy glue. It would just go, you know, right, just like that, and then all in here, you know what I mean? Yeah. That was the only moment. That's like walking into the water, you know, really cold. You know,
You take big leaps in your character, you know. So when I would look at him, I was kind of envious sometimes because I knew you could really kind of get locked away and just go for it.
It's really creepy. I was frightened. He handed me one of his slimy little flippers, you know. And he looked at me. That was it. I said, bye. Also, he stays in character all the time.
I loved it. You know, I just loved it.
Then it'll be an hour. It's that penguin thing, you know?
For the Penguins Commando Army, Burton needed a battalion of live trained penguins.
What we've trained the birds to do is to come to a call. We've trained them to wear their little missiles in their little hats. When they get to where they're going, they each get a fish.
Come on, guys, hurry up. Come on.
This is Lucy. She's been trained to wear these harnesses. She's been acclimated to this for about 4 weeks. She's worn wardrobe in the past. They don't mind it. It's part of the deal for them. The stages that we're working on are cooled to 45, 50 degrees. And the qualifications were, if you were a penguin and you were available, you had the job.
Penguins, my babies. It was great working with the penguins. I had tons of penguins, tons. Who can hate a penguin?
The time has come to punish all of Gotham!
I rule the birds.
Well, maybe not all the birds. To supplement the live penguins, Burton asked the makeup effects master Stan Winston, who won Oscars for Aliens and Terminator 2, to create penguin robots.
We are duplicating life so that we can get some performance out of a creature that otherwise would not be able to perform. If we do our job correctly, you should not be aware that these are not real penguins.
Are you talking to me? Are you looking at me?
The special effects technology that was utilized to create the illusion of real life also created the penguin's trademark weapon of choice.
They're very helpful. I can fly with my umbrellas. I can roast you like a marshmallow.
What is that supposed to hypnotize me?
No, just give you a splitting headache.
All of these characters, Batman, Catwoman, Penguin, there's a split with all of them. It was with the Joker also. And I think that's the most interesting thing about all of these characters. What they want to be versus what they are. And what they look like versus what they think they look like. You just get all the emotions of humor, horror, sadness, drama, absurdity, and reality all at once.
Tragic irony or poetic justice? You tell me.
This stage right here, stage 16 on the Warner Brothers lot, is one of the biggest sound stages in the world. This, along with 12 other stages in Hollywood, was filled with spectacularly unique sets depicting the world of Gotham. Well, to create this new look, Tim Burton assembled a world-class team of creative artists and technicians. And the result is all sorts of wonderful new toys.
So we have a new and improved Batarang. We have a new Bat Ski boat. And we have the Batmobile.
It's a vision that we all remember. The Batmobile rocketing down the streets of Gotham to face the perils of yet another deadly encounter. Hey, and no speed limit.
Tim created his own world for this movie. We didn't use anything from the real world. Everything takes place on the planet of Gotham City. And that's what movies should do. Gee, I forgot about all my problems for 2 hours. I just went to another place and I had a lot of fun.
The point is to make it feel fresh and make it feel exciting and new and still be Batman.
For over 50 years, we have thrilled to the exploits of this mortal man who somehow accomplishes superhuman deeds. As he fights for justice against the evil forces, we are right there with him. And our children see what we saw growing up, a hero. As long as we have our imagination and a little fantasy, we will have Batman. Good night from Gotham City. Yeah, I got to ride home.